There were times when Padre Pio refused to grant absolution to people who had skipped Sunday Mass. Why would he do something that seemed so severe? Once you understand how he viewed the Holy Mass, his actions begin to make perfect sense. Stay tuned. Welcome to Following Padre Pio. We're grateful to all those who quietly helped this apostolate continue reaching souls through Padre Pio's spiritual legacy. Today's story may touch your heart in ways you do not expect. We all know that God commanded us to remember and keep holy the Sabbath day. As Catholics, we ordinarily fulfill that commandment by attending Mass every Sunday. Now, there are circumstances that can excuse someone from attending Mass. Serious illness, physical incapability, or other grave reasons. But simply staying home because it's raining or because we don't feel like going is another matter entirely. And that brings us to today's video. We're going to step inside Padre Pio's confessional and listen to 3 brief encounters that reveal just how seriously he regarded Sunday Mass. His words and actions may seem harsh at first, but once you understand how he viewed the Mass, they begin to make perfect sense. Our first anecdote comes from the book The Padre St. Pio of Pietrelcina by Father Marcellino Iasanzanero. A woman was traveling from northern to southern Italy and decided to stop in San Giovanni Rotondo. Before long, she found herself kneeling in Padre Pio's confessional. As she confessed her sins, she admitted that she had missed Mass the previous Sunday. But she quickly tried to explain herself. It was raining heavily, she said. Padre Pio replied, "Yes, it was raining heavily, but it was also raining heavily when you left on your journey, and that did not stop you then." With just one sentence, he exposed the inconsistency of her excuse. Our next 2 stories come from the book Padre Pio, Messages from the Saint of the Stigmata by the Benitez brothers. On one occasion, Padre Pio asked a penitent, "How many times have you missed Mass?" "Padre, how can I remember? There have been a lot," the man replied. But Padre Pio repeated the question, "How many times have you missed since your last confession?" The man answered again, "But Padre, I don't know." Padre Pio then said, "Well then, go away and come back to me when you remember how many times you have missed Mass." And he dismissed him without giving absolution. Now, before someone rushes to criticize Padre Pio in the comments for refusing absolution, it's worth remembering that he was never stern for its own sake. Countless people testified that he knew what was in a penitent's heart even before they spoke. Padre Pio wasn't teaching that you need to remember every single occurrence with perfect precision. The Church simply asks us to confess mortal sins according to their kind and number as best as we can. Padre Pio recognized this particular penitent had not examined his conscience seriously. His firm response was a call to greater sincerity and better preparation. And I have a feeling he thought twice before skipping Mass again. And finally, a similar situation. One penitent recalled, "I confessed to Padre Pio, and with a certain boldness I said, 'Father, I often miss Sunday Mass. I have no desire, and even the thought of attending Mass burdens me.' Padre Pio answered, 'Oh, really? Well, I also have no desire to grant you absolution. Go away.' And with that he closed the little window of the confessional." Strong words, but they came from someone who understood the Mass in a way very few people ever have. Padre Pio wasn't simply frustrated that people were breaking one of God's commandments. He knew exactly what was taking place on the altar. He once said, "If men only appreciated the value of a holy Mass, traffic police would be needed at the church doors every day to keep the crowds in order." Think about that for a moment. If we truly believed what happens at every Mass, would we ever see it as an obligation to get through? Or would we see it as the greatest privilege of our week? Perhaps some of you long to grow closer to the mystery of the Mass, to deepen your prayer, or simply to remain faithful amid the distractions and pressures of daily life. Becoming a protected child of Padre Pio is more than helping this apostolate continue. It's becoming part of a spiritual family united in prayer, where your intentions and those of your loved ones are remembered in regular Holy Masses. Through your support, these stories continue reaching souls who may be searching for that same hope and encouragement. If you feel called to join this mission of prayer, we warmly invite you through the link below. When someone once confessed being distracted during Mass, Padre Pio answered, "But my child, this has happened to you because you don't know what the Mass is. The Mass is Christ on Calvary, with Mary and John at the foot of the cross, and the angels in perpetual adoration. Let us weep with love and admiration at this contemplation." For Padre Pio, attending Mass was never simply about fulfilling an obligation. It meant standing at the foot of the cross itself. This is why he advised, when you go to Mass, concentrate to the maximum on the tremendous mystery that is being celebrated in your presence, the redemption of your soul and reconciliation with God. Attend Mass as the Blessed Virgin, the pious women, and St. John attended. He also said, "Every Mass heard with devotion produces in our souls marvelous effects, abundant spiritual and material graces that we cannot even imagine. The Holy Mass is like a voucher that Christ has left us, and with it we present ourselves to the Father to obtain from the treasure of the fruits of the cross all that we need for our salvation. In the Holy Mass, Christ receives our supplications, corrects and improves them according to his wisdom, and then personally presents them to the Father, referring to the infinite sacrifice offered on the cross." So as we conclude this month dedicated to the precious blood of Jesus, may we remember that the blood he shed for our salvation is not merely something we recall as a past event. At every Mass, the one sacrifice of Calvary is made sacramentally present before us. Perhaps if we remembered that each Sunday, we would never ask, "Do I feel like going to Mass today?" Instead, we would ask, "How could I willingly stay away?" If today's story reminded you how deeply Padre Pio still touches souls, we invite you not to remain only a viewer, but to become part of this mission spiritually through the Protected Child of Padre Pio program. Your monthly support helps this apostolate continue reaching those who may be searching for hope, guidance, or consolation at precisely the right moment. More importantly, your intentions and loved ones are spiritually remembered through regular Holy Masses and prayer. If you feel called to take that step, we warmly invite you to join us through the link below.